Welcome back, guys. This is Crayfish Carl again with a Pong tutorial series. Now, before we wrap things up, we're going to add one more little convenient feature, and that is to get the ball to pause in between serves. So you're going to see some text that says, "Get ready," and then the ball is going to go. Now, that may sound hard, but it's actually pretty simple. So let's get started. First, we're going to click on our ball, and we're going to go to this new tab called the Values tab, which says A to Z. And you can add any kind of number to this. And if you have some prior programming experience, these are like variables. And we're just going to add a value here. We're going to click on the New button, this first one. And this will be the time in between serves. And let's go ahead and double click. We're going to call it time. Now, we can't call it timer because the word timer is already a key word for Clickteam Fusion, so it won't let us use that. But let's call it time because that's okay. So let's press OK. And we're just going to leave it at 0. Now, the other thing we need is another string. And we're just going to right click and say Insert Object. We're going to get a string. And we're going to insert it. Let's go ahead and type our text that says, "Get ready." Let's go ahead and center it. Don't forget to rename it. You're going to right click, say rename, and say, "Get ready string." The next thing we're going to do, we're going to click on the ball, and we're going to actually give it some conditions. So we're going to click, and after we click on the ball, we're going to press Events over here. And then we're going to go to Behavior and press Edit. So the first thing we do, we're going to press New Condition. Right click on the storyboard controls, say Start a Frame. We're going to tell the ball to stop. So say Movement, Stop. And then we're going to right click on the same check again. You can actually add multiple little conditions and events on top of each other. So after you right click on say, you're going to say Alterable Values and say Set. Now if this thing looks a little bit different, that's because in between recording these videos, Clickteam Fusion updated a little bit. So that's why it looks a tad different. So we're going to say that set the time to 3. And press OK. So the timer is set to 3 and the ball stops. And then what we need next is that we're going to make a new condition. We're going to use the Clickteam Fusion's actual timer, which is this clock thing right here. We're going to right click and say every. And then you can choose how long the intervals is, but we're just going to go with 1 second. And press OK. So it's going to act like every 1 second it's going to decrement the time on the ball. So we're going to right click on the ball, say Alterable Values, Subtract From, and we're going to press 1. And you just press OK. So now it says every 1 second it's going to subtract 1 from the time. Now we're going to add a new condition, and this is going to check to see if the time reaches 0. So we're going to say right click on the ball, Alterable Values, compare to one of the alterable values. And then we're going to go ahead and change this to lower equal. And then press OK. Because it's going to lower equal to 0. I'm going to right click on the ball and say Movement, Start. And then finally, we need to have the timer start again whenever you score a goal. So we're going to find that condition where it says the ball leaves to the left or right. And we're going to right click on top of this one again. We're going to add a movement, stop. And then we're going to right click and say Alterable Values, Set, set the time, and press 3. And then you press OK. So that's all that we need on the ball itself. Now, we're going to go back to the frame editor, and go to the string that we just created that says get ready. We're going to have it so that it only appears when the time on the ball is greater than 0. So we're going to, after clicking on the string, we're going to go to the Events tab over here and press New on the Behaviors. We're going to click on here and say Edit. Now we're going to say New Condition. We're going to import the ball. So you're right-click, Alterable Values, compare to one of the alterable values. I'm going to say the time is greater than 0, and press OK. Then we're going to right-click on under the string, say Visibility, make object reappear. Now that seems kind of strange because it's already appearing by default, but in our next condition, we're going to turn it off. So we're going to say right-click on the ball, say Alterable Values, compare to one of the alterable values. We're going to say lower or equal to 0 and press OK. And now we're going to right-click on the string, say Visibility, make object invisible. Because the way that Clickteam Fusion reads these things is they constantly go down the list and then just repeat over and over again, just like a real program. Well, of course it's a real program, but that's how it always reads things from top to bottom and goes over and over again. So now, the way this reads is, so if the ball is greater than 0, it appears. But if it's lower or equal to 0, it disappears. So let's run our game and see what happens. So run application. See it says get ready. You move out of the way, you score a point. Let's go ahead and X that out. So that is our game. But now you're probably wondering, how do you get this game to play on computers that don't have Clickteam Fusion installed? Well, we have to build the game into an exe application. And there are other types of file formats that you can build into, like a HTML, but that's a little more advanced stuff. So the exe is going to do for now. So we're going to go ahead and press File, Build, Application. And then we're just going to save it right here, because that's our name of our game, tutorialpong.exe. I'm going to press Save. Now, if you open where the folder where the file was, you'll see there are games right there. It says tutorialpong.exe. Double-click on that, and our game runs by itself. There we go. And it works. Let's close that out. Now, if you want to, say, make it a downloadable file off the internet, I'd recommend putting it into a zip file, because sometimes an antivirus software might mistake it for a virus, and I assure you it is not a virus. It's perfectly safe. But for now you have a game that you can distribute to your friends pretty easily. And this concludes the Pong tutorial series, and I'll be covering other types of genres you can make with Clickteam Fusion in the future. But let me know if there's something you want me to specifically go over. But for now, this is Crayfish Carl signing out.